Welcome to Garden Valley Church Podcasts. We are so looking forward to having you join us today.
Welcome to Wow, Look at Us Now podcast. I'm your host, Rochelle Onslager.
And I'm Michael Onslager.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Wow, Look at Us Now podcast. This episode is gonna be about others' opinions of you. It's a big one, huh?
It's a huge one.
It's a huge one. Okay, well, others' opinions of you. An opinion is a view or judgment formed about something, not necessarily based on fact or knowledge. That's a mic drop moment. Not necessarily. That's a huge thing, honestly. Like, I was thinking about it, like, others' opinions of you, and I was like, well, it's true. Like, a lot of people let other people's opinions of them define who they are, and, like, treat it like it's the truth or a fact. When in fact, it's not.
Yeah, people go off of what other people say all the time.
Well, I can't hear you.
Yeah, you can.
No, I really couldn't hear you.
I said people go off of what other people say all the time, not just off of facts.
Yeah. Okay, this is gonna be a weird episode, I guess. Not feeling it today. A little down in the dumps.
Oh, me? No.
Yeah. We're seeming quiet already.
No.
And I'm like having my fifth wind of the day.
Oh, man,
I'm like
so
exhausted. Yeah.
I'm dead.
Me too. It just keeps going back and forth. I'm like, okay, busy day at work. Now on to the podcast. We should probably get back on subject, but others' opinions of you. So I have a question. What opinions of others that they either said to you to your face or behind your back that you've let define you, like, in the past?
Like, are you saying?
What's an opinion that someone said about you, either to your face or behind your back, that you, like, later, like, let define you, like, maybe in the past? Not saying it's how now like that, but like, what do you think that, like, you let get to your head?
Definitely probably my parents. Stuff about my parents, like when people say stuff. Like, cause I was there with them a lot and I stayed with them for a while. I don't know. Like, people would say stuff about me, that I would never leave, or that I'm just too attached to them, or there's just like there was a lot of stuff like in the, behind the scenes that like people didn't see, and that like stuck with me a lot, I would say.
So you felt like you had to stick up for yourself and protect yourself every time?
Yeah.
Why?
And stick up for my parents just so that.
But why do you think, though? Why did you let it happen?
I used to. Well, it's everybody's opinions. Like, back up until like probably like 4 years ago, I cared too much about what people thought. I placed too much value in what people said, so it could have been anything.
4 years ago?
Yeah.
I think it was a lot sooner than that.
No, because like I would take people for like, depending on who said things, like if it was someone I cared about a lot, if they said something, yeah, I would. But then a lot of the other stuff, like I got over people's garbage so quickly that I was just like, whatever. Like I really don't care. Like I went through a phase of like.
Do you care though? Do you care about what others say? Truly.
It depends on the person.
Or like what the profession is. I mean, like, because in some instance, you want to say that you like care because it has to do with like your business or job. You obviously, I mean, you don't have to like strive for that. You want people to.
Yeah, but I want my boss happy with me, like in whatever I'm doing. I want to be able to meet the mark or exceed it.
Yeah.
There's certain things, like I said, it depends on the person and the position, and it also depends on what, is being talked about in that moment. There's some things that, like, in that moment, I could be like, okay, believe what you want. That's not what happened. Like, I don't care. And then there's some things where it's like,
Do you actually say that?
yeah.
Believe what you want. I don't care.
Well, I don't say it exactly like that, but I'm like, okay, I'm like, you can choose to believe that. I'm like, it's not true, but you can choose to believe that.
Okay. I mean, I feel like you're getting a little bit defensive right now. You think so?
No.
Oh, okay. So what helps you overcome the negative opinions you've heard about yourself from others?
I don't know. I really have to get into like a place where I'm just like, okay, they have an opinion from what they're seeing. Because like when somebody forms an opinion, you're only seeing what you see. You can't see everything else that everybody else is seeing. You only see what's going through your eyes, right? So there could be a piece of the puzzle that they're not seeing. So I have to just either be like, okay, they're not seeing everything, and so I can't really hold it against them, or I don't care. I'm like, okay, like, I don't know, it's hard, especially like, for example, social media. So many people can see and have an opinion from social media, and I'm not talking about just Facebook, Instagram. I'm talking like all platforms, like the news, or not. So I guess not just social media in general, like the news, word of mouth, online, that kind of thing. A lot of people are able to form opinions just on what they see, but doesn't mean everything's true. Doesn't mean everything that they're seeing they can believe.
Yeah.
And I don't really do any of that. Like, I have the people that I talk to through text. I have the people that I see in person, and that's it. So the only thing I go off of is what I'm able to see throughout the day. Or let's say somebody brings something up or says something to me. I can take what they have with a grain of salt, but that doesn't mean I get to form a heavily solid based opinion about someone or about something or a situation. I can only just go off of what I know. So when somebody has an opinion of me or says something about me, I have to just kind of assume like, okay, they only see so much. They only know so much, So I can't just, you have to take things like with a grain of salt. And I've learned more lately, like, I have a group of people where it's like, okay, their opinions of me matter highly. Like you, Curtis, Steven, not to name drop, but those are some of my friends. But et cetera, et cetera. Their opinions of me or what they have to say, I'm going to take highly because they see me all the time. Mm-hmm. They get to talk to me all the time. They get to see pretty much the whole picture. So the more knowledge of me that they have, the higher opinion there, or the higher I'm gonna regard their opinion. If somebody doesn't have a clear picture of me or doesn't get to see me all the time, doesn't get to know, like, doesn't get to see all the things that are going on around me, then the less I cared about their opinion, the less power they have in their opinion. It's just like when you're closer to someone, they have an opportunity to hurt you more than somebody that you're not close to. So.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like I won't say you earn the right, but you're giving the permission to.
Yeah.
Speak into your life, over your life, or whatever. Yeah. So it's the only time you're saying that. That's when.
Yeah, that's when. Matter. Yeah, that's when I would say I care more, or I get my feelings hurt more, or I get butt hurt. Whereas when somebody's opinion, is when somebody I care about, their opinion's like, no, I'm like,
okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's where, like, I don't know. But aside from that,
how many times has my opinions hurt you?
All the time. No, I'm just kidding. Not all the time. There is certain times where, and you won't even be wrong though. Sometimes, like, sometimes you're spot on, and there's areas that I need to grow in. So, but it still hurts sometimes. Like if it's something that's brought in a certain way or whatever, and it's like, okay, I could work on that, you know.
I feel like I'm good at that.
For the most part, I think there's times.
For the most part.
I think there's times where it's like you only see a little bit, and then you say that, and it's like, no, like this is the whole picture. And then
Well,
you're
that's
like,
how I communicate though,
Yeah.
because I'm an external and you're an internal.
But
So
you're
I
quick-
have to
but
say
you're-
things, and then I'm like, okay.
You're quick to be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Never mind. And you're quick to like, okay, never mind. Then we'll just take that back then.
But definitely, if I see something, I'll call it
Yeah,
out.
you'll just be like, boom, and I'm like, no, like no, like that's not. This is the whole picture. And you're like, okay, never mind. And we're like, okay, cool. And
Well, that has to do a lot with communication too.
Yeah.
Like others' opinions of you, actually, kind
Yeah.
of in a way too, because how they could be saying something could be taken as in like,
What was
not
it?
like authority or leadership. It's just like,
For example, last night, like it was just a matter of communication. I thought you were going a completely different route with something than you were because of the way, kind of
Oh,
the way,
yeah.
like,
And
kind of
I
the
was
way,
so confused.
kind of the way you asked the question or kind of the way you acted. Like I instantly, because it's been like some of the other times or whatever, I instantly assumed this is, you were talking about example A, but you were really talking about example B. So we were both on completely opposite spectrums. And you're
Yeah, I know.
confused, and I'm getting frustrated.
yeah,
and then
you're like
like,
all in, and I was like, I don't understand what's happening right now.
Yeah.
I am so confused.
yeah, it was,
Oh man,
it was
We
kind of
should've
funny.
we should have made another episode about communication.
Yeah, it was funny.
Let's have a TED talk. That's for sure.
Yeah, it made me laugh because I was like, cut the crap, you know what you're talking about. You're like, no, I don't even know what you're talking about, and I'm like, oh, you
And
don't.
you're like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm like,
Yeah,
no, I don't. Like, I'm actually truly trying to think right now. It's because I was quiet, so you probably thought I was lying or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't know what you're
you're
talking
like,
about,
I'm
actually.
genuinely confused. But that's the thing is like and that's with opinions. Like my opinion in that moment was like, oh, she's thinking this and she's saying that, you know. But it was like I didn't have a
Yeah,
full
you guys,
view on.
Michael straight up asked me why I was being so insecure about something, and I had no idea what he was even talking about. And it, like, whatever, I don't remember honestly all of it, what happened, but either way, it was just the part where he like came back at me. And it wasn't even like a jerk thing. Like he was trying to communicate that with me.
I was trying to
like,
figure it
if
out.
There's something that triggered you. Like,
Yeah.
why are you being so insecure? And I was like,
Yeah,
I
'cause
got
I
my
was-
head and about like what I'm like. What does he even mean right now? What?
Well, and it was crazy because
I
I was
think I was
trying.
making a jab at him, and I totally wasn't.
I was trying to fix the problem by asking like, okay, why are you being so insecure? And then I was
Or
trying
being,
to like
triggered
fix.
by something, and I'm like,
Yeah, and I was
"What?"
trying to fix the problem by like, okay, well, just let me know when you're home, and then we can, like, collaborate and get things. And you're like, well, that's. And then in your area, you're like, well, that's kind of weird, or that's kind of like that doesn't
Yes.
make sense. And I'm like, I'm trying to fix a problem here, like I'm trying to communicate, and it was just we were totally on two different wavelengths. But that's exactly like how opinions are with people. You could be on a completely
Yeah,
different
everyone.
wavelength.
Oh man, I just so bad want to say that.
What?
Whatever they say, I don't remember what that. When they say,
Oh,
Opinions-
opinions are like buttholes. Everybody's got one.
some of them stink. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something like that. I just want to say
Yeah.
that so bad, but I was
It's
like,
true.
maybe I shouldn't.
But all that to say, like, you could be on a completely different wavelength. Like something could happen, and just because of this person only seen 10-second snippet of what was going on, they can form a complete opinion. That's why you can't trust it. You can't trust even your own opinion sometimes. Like you have to.
Yeah, but I feel like everyone's opinion of you is like really good, to be honest. Like I've never heard anyone unless they're jealous. No, but for
I know a
real.
couple people.
Okay, no, but that's for reasons because they're jealous, straight up. But I've never heard like people say like really mean, nasty things
Yeah.
about you because they're all. But like girls can be mean, and so
And guys
I
can
know
be.
tons of people that can say all this stuff about me.
One.
Oh, she's been married. She's been married now 3 times, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, buddy, 3 times a charm. Like I don't.
Well-
I am so funny because I don't know. You're kind of like that too, but like. I feel like I don't take it on as much. Like when others' opinions of me, like I'm gonna fixate on it for a second. I let it sink in and I really think about it, and then I like catch myself and I'm like, no, they literally have no idea, or
Yeah.
it's not the truth just because that's what you say or that's an opinion of what someone thinks of you. I'm just that one that just like
Well, I used to
don't
be pretty
care.
bad at like I would form my own opinions like because I had a hard time trusting people for the longest time too. I still do sometimes, but trusting what others would say, you know, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna trust. So I would go off of just only what I would see, you know, and I would form.
That's a good.
It's a good thing, but if you're only seeing a certain amount, because like I would judge people right away, like 100%. When I was
well, when you
following
judge
God less,
people, I mean,
when I wasn't in a relationship with God and I was a little bit more like frustrated towards the world in general, like I was just angry and frustrated like with life.
When you come at that, because naturally every human.
But that's what I'm saying is my
yeah. You don't have to. It's a certain way that you don't have to.
Right, but I would make my opinion so quick of other people. I'd be like, well, that person's dumb, or I don't like them, or they're a douche, or whatever. And then like weeks later, you know, I'm like, oh, this guy's really, really cool. Like, I can't believe I thought about them.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I hurt my feelings. So I was dating this guy in high school, and he's from a different school. And so I think I already told you this a couple times before. Maybe, I don't know. But anyways, the girls didn't like me because this guy was kind of like a jock and the head honcho of their school, and I was from a different school, and they're like, oh, that girl's from Roseburg, an RHS girl, and stuff like that. And I would hear them say that kind of stuff, and at first I was like, what the heck? What does that even mean, first off? Because I go to Roseburg High School, like, that's weird. Like, okay, never mind. Anyways, but I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but that sounds like it's like must be catty or bratty. But I was like, okay, whatever. And later on, I ended up being friends with some of them, and they came to me and they're like, oh man, I used to think that you were just so stuck up and you were so so rude, and then I got to know you and you're not like that at all. Like, you're actually the opposite. And they were meaning it as a compliment, but I took it as like, and then it kind of made me insecure after that, because I was like, oh great, now people like, that's what people see me as, like that I'm like a brat girl and I look stuck up and like I'm gonna be rude or something like that, and it like made me insecure for a long time after that. It actually messed with me for quite a while, and so I was like, maybe you need to smile more. I don't know. Like, I'm like, I don't know what else I can do. And then I like realized as I got older, I'm like, well, I mean, I'm gonna try to be approachable if I can. Yeah. So I can learn something from that. Like, maybe I do have a resting jerk face. I don't know. Well, but I know that I'm like, okay, like hopefully I look nicer. I don't know. Some people treat me nicer when they find out I'm a mom. Yeah. I don't know why. It actually made me more in mom mode, like mom protective. I'm probably a bigger jerk now than I was in this game. What? I'm serious. I'm like, if anything, it made me stand up and like voice my opinion more, and that's not always what everyone wants to hear. That's my opinion.
What would you say is one of your favorite negative opinions that turned into a good opinion? What situation in your life
was a negative opinion?
Just like the story that you explained.
Yeah, that's what I would have just said probably.
Oh, that was like the one I would, because for me, I have
a negative opinion.
I have two situations in my life. The first one is my buddy Steven.
You don't call absolutely people out like that.
It's not a bad thing.
Oh, well,
we tell the story to everybody.
Okay.
We even share it with when we're at customers' houses. He could not stand me because I would visit the warehouse.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember you guys.
Yeah, so he could not stand me just because he was
at another job.
No, I was at another job, and I just came in and visited all the time because everybody there was like family for me. And he was starting to become popular, and he was the newer guy, and I came in like I owned the place.
Popular.
Oh. Like popular within the, not like
just high school again.
No,
he was so popular at work, like
no, not like that. But he actually started like to make friends there, and people started to get to know him, and because he was supposed to be just a temp, and then they liked him enough that they bought out his contract, and he got to keep working at Coke. Yeah. Oh, everybody loves Steve.
Just to let everyone else know, I'm the girl version of a Steven. It's Michael's best friend, so that's actually probably why we get along so well, because we laugh, because Steven's wife and Michael are the similar like type of people, and then you have me and Steven, and we're the same type. I'm like, that's why you just wanted to marry
a girl version of Steven.
Yeah. He loves that compliment, by the way, when we told him.
Oh, he does. He loves it. Anyways, Steven's opinion about me, like because I walked in like I owned the place, and I would just help people in there on my own free time, and would hang out with them. So he formed an opinion just off of that, and he could not stand me. And here we are, like 4 years later, best of friends. And it's super funny. And then, of course, the opinions I've had of you, and you had of me before we started dating. we did
So
not have
rude.
we did not have the best opinions of each other, like, at all.
That's because we never really got to know each
I
other.
know.
We grew up with each other, but we didn't hang out like closely. Like
Well,
you were
and-
family, you were hung
and
out
we
with us,
were-
but we were like different. 'Cause
We were told
older.
things by other people saying, like, he said, she said, through the grapevine type stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, I went off of what other people said, you went off of what other people said.
And then you just met
And
me.
then-
You
and
met
then
me
we-
as a best friend. You're like, dang, that's just the best girl I've ever met.
Well, when we cut through, like, all the opinions of what we had built up, it was
Of
like
what other people
of
said.
what other people said, and we
It
went
was a
off
mic
of
drop moment.
yeah, and we went off of, like, hey, this is my personal experience, this is your personal experience.
This is who we truly are.
Yeah,
though.
it was like, wow, we have way more things in common than I ever thought.
Did we become just?
Did we just become best friends?
I'm gonna mess that up.
I don't know how it actually goes.
Yeah, something like that.
But it's funny.
Basically.
But yeah,
That's kinda how it
I was thinking about it as I was like, man, opinions, like, it's crazy how something so negative can turn.
Well, I always thought you were such a goodie. I'm like, oh, he definitely don't want me. I'm trouble. I'm gonna get him in trouble. And you're like, yeah, like that. Just kidding.
No, definitely. It didn't go like that.
I
No.
was joking.
Joking. Because the opinions I had were, like, so bad that, like, you would show up and I'd walk away.
What?
Like, when I was hanging out around, like, your family and stuff.
You'd
would-
walk away?
Yeah.
You're so rude. Wow.
But it was the opinions that I had built up in my head.
Well, I'm glad God
And other
worked
people.
in your heart because that is judgment written all over it. You had no idea.
I know. And you had no
know.
idea.
No, I had a pretty good idea.
No, you didn't.
Goody two shoes and still goody two shoes. You're like barely even mess up your life, and I'm like, I mean, you have some stuff, but you just like were always like wanting to follow the rules. And I did kind of to a point, but also there's a part of me that's like,
You
nah,
pushed the boundaries for
I'm
sure.
gonna risk it. Everything that I can do, I'm gonna risk it.
Like,
just a little bit.
Your personality is like
Let's do it.
like
Let's
when
do
you
it.
tell an animal, like the cat, you're like, no, don't touch that, and they still, like, they look at you and they
touch it.
touch it anyway. They don't break anything, they don't push it, but they still touch it anyways just to touch it. Like, that's your personality. Like, how far can I stretch without, you know, being super negative or breaking something or whatever? It's like, how far can I get all that I can out of this?
You gotta make it fun. That's very, very true. I'm definitely a risk taker. I'm literally gonna be like, I get to a point, I'm like, screw it, let's do it.
It's not all bad. It helps people grow.
Yeah. Push people. I'm a pusher.
Don't ask God for patience, because He'll just provide opportunities.
No, I don't. I think.
Because that's what I did. I was like, God, help me grow patience, and He's like, and help me be able to talk to people. And then I met you, and it's like, you helped me grow to talk to
I'm
people.
like, I didn't give you
In the
another
moment-
option. Though.
In the moment, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, and I'm so frustrated. And then
but when you get out and push, it's because I feel like I'm the type of person only certain people can do it to me. Because I mean, someone can tell me something, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, okay, it definitely. Thanks so much, but that's not gonna happen, kind
Yeah.
of thing. And then there's certain people that I'm like, rub me a different way that I'm like, okay, they're right. I probably should listen, and I'll do that. But I know that like once I started getting out of my comfort zone and growing, it made me grow so much. And there's so much potential I saw.
well, but these are all
I don't know what we're talking about. Like we're talking about opinions, and we just got off subject.
No,
but-
this is about opinions still, though, because, like, my opinion in the fact of I don't want to be pushed that way sometimes. Like, in my opinion, I'm like, no, that's dumb.
Oh, but I'm
My view
I
and my
definitely do
opinion
that
of
to
it
people.
is
And
like,
guess
I think
what?
that's stupid.
That's
and
just
then
how I am. I don't. Everyone's like, no, wait till they're comfortable, and I'm like, nope, we don't do that here.
well, but this
I'm gonna
is,
push a little bit. I'll be respectful, but I'm gonna push it a little bit.
this is how I see it, as like, I have an opinion, like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I think the way you do it is dumb sometimes, or whatever the case may be, and the fact that you're pushing me to do this, I think is stupid. Like, in that moment, I'll be frustrated, and then I'll grow a little, and then, like, here I am, like, 2 years later, and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm glad that I didn't let my opinion or my view on that situation keep a hold of me. And then I question myself, like, okay, how many times have I thought that, like, okay, God's opinion or God's view, like, no, I don't want to do that, God. Like, I don't see it that way. I don't want to, you know. And then time goes on, and I'm like, oh no, God had it right all along, you know. we build up these opinions and views just off of when we go to church and somebody says something and it rubs you the wrong way, or we build up these opinions and views of God in religion and reading the Bible because of just what you read and what you see, and not asking God, like, okay, what do you say about this? Like, how are you wanting to do this? But you just go off of the opinions of others, or you make your form your own opinions of God.
But that's exactly like going off your feelings, like instead of like walking by truth. Actually, I think we just talked about that. That's come up a lot. Actually, it's kind of weird, to be honest. Because Pastor Craig, was it this last Sunday that he just said that? Okay. So yeah, he said that. But I just saw something on like Facebook or Instagram and I read it. And I think I might have shared it with you. And then that Sunday, it was like within like that week, I was like, what the heck? Like, just stop going off of your feelings.
Yeah. But if you
go by the truth.
If you think about it, religion itself is an opinion. It's straight up an opinion.
Yeah, I guess.
Because if it's just always following, it's not a relationship. Because when you and I began to have a relationship, my opinions about you changed. It wasn't just like, oh, this is what it is. This is what it is. Boom, boom, boom.
Well,
it was communicating back and forth.
Truth,
exactly.
God's word is truth.
Exactly.
So that's where I always go back to, being like, God, what do you say about this?
Exactly.
Instead of like, that's why like when other people's opinions get to me, like even if I was doing like not even one person, not even you, if you didn't even agree, like there was something God told me to do, or what I had, or I felt like I knew I was supposed to do. Like, yeah, people can say things or whatever, but if I truly knew it was a God thing, I legit would not care. I'd be like, okay, that's fine, but you're not God. Like, I mean, I wouldn't even have to say anything. I'm not even going to defend myself. Like, I actually, when I went through my divorce, actually, I probably think that's this, well, my second divorce. When I went through my second divorce, there was a lot of chatter going on because of other people ran their mouths and stuff. And I actually got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to defend myself. Like, I truly know what happened. I know the truth. Mm-hmm. Like, what really happened. I'm not going to sit here and go around Roseburg or other even, like, cities and stuff and say, like, that I did all these made-up lies and stuff. Yeah. I'm literally like, nope. I mean, if someone's going to believe that and think that and about you anyways, let them believe it. Don't defend yourself. You don't need to. Like, I'm like, literally, like, I know the truth. God knows the truth. And I'm not going to be the one to have to answer to that. Like, that kind of thing. So I'm like, whatever. And that actually opened up for me to, like, when people's opinions keep throwing at me and, like, everything, and being like, nope, I'm not defending myself. Like, I'm not wasting my time. Like, I literally do not have enough energy to go and defend myself. And that's, like, actually one thing that I really loved about myself when I was growing through that process, because it's hard to not let people's words get to you and feed off of it and then let it define you or just like make you angry and resentful. Like, I just am like, whatever, like whatever you want to say, that's fine. But I know the truth, or I know who I am in God. Like, it's what God says, not what you say.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, I had all these views and opinions on God. Mm-hmm. And then once I actually started having relationship with him, that's when all my opinions and views changed.
Yeah.
And so it was a matter of the relationship and the communication and figuring out like, oh, I was wrong all along. Like, I had all this negative view and negative feelings towards him, and then boom, like I actually, and during
that's actually kind of cool though that you said that, because I'm thinking of like the opinions that I have. Well, it was kind of based on religion in a way, but like the opinions I had of God was like, he's always waiting to point a finger at you, that he was mad at you because, I mean, you just grew up in church and you heard about, like, you remember,
like Shelly said on Sunday, she's like, he's waiting to press the smite button.
Well, yeah, not even that, but you like remember positive things, but I feel like that you dwell on the negative things more. It's like where human minds like naturally go to is always the negative and that kind of stuff. So I try to think of, like, instead of saying focus on all the negative of not what I am not, but who I am. Like, I'm gonna think of the positive things of who I am. I don't know how to explain that. Did I say that right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But with the God's opinion, like having that of God being like, I have to follow all these rules. Like, if I want to be a Christian, I have to follow these rules. I can't have fun. Like, so I'm just gonna have like I knew there was gonna be a point that I was gonna come to God like completely, because I knew him, like knew of him, and I knew about God, and I knew he was real, and I have experienced him, but I never like surrendered my life. But like the opinions that I formed against him weren't truth. They were just knowledge of what I thought that I had in that moment, and then come to find out I was completely wrong. And I'm like, wow, well, if I would have known half that stuff before, I probably would have came to God a lot sooner. Like thinking that he's not like trying to condemn me and make me feel terrible about myself and not love me.
This is even
feeling like I had to be a good, like just be perfect. Like I literally had to be perfect to come to God.
Yeah. And this is even like crazier, like when somebody forms an opinion about you and you find out about it or whatever, your knee-jerk reaction is to be like, okay, whatever, like, or to try and fix it or whatever the case may be, but instantly.
No, it's usually defending yourself and like getting back at them.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is instantly your knee-jerk reaction is either to like be like, okay, whatever, I'm just not going to talk to him, or you defend yourself or whatever the case may be. That's your knee-jerk reaction. When we have an opinion or review about God, even if it's negative, his knee-jerk reaction isn't to defend himself or to try and get back at us, or to, it's literally like, it's so loving. It's like, no, like, let me show you who I am. Let me show you who I am. Like, and he just keeps loving, keeps blessing, keeps being there for us. Like, so that's where like I'm trying to get myself into like the habit of like, even if somebody has an opinion about me or whatever, I just try to forget that part, like that negative side, and just be like, no, just continue to love that person, continue to just be nice. Even, and you don't have to go like over the top crazy, but just even when they're doing things to you and you're just like, oh, hey, hope your day goes good, or praying for you, or even praying for them in secret. Like there's tons of people that I pray for that they don't even know. Like they have right now they have
that though. I like to be the silent watcher.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna pray for people silently and not let them know, and then watch all these things happen, and I'm like,
but there's so many people right now that, like, I wouldn't say so many, but there's
God got me.
I know there's at least a handful of people right now that definitely have their opinion of me, and I am praying for them pretty consistently, even when I get frustrated.
Yeah, that's a little bit harder for me. I mean, I do it, but I don't always want
It's not an easy task. Like, it's something you have to, it's like working out. You have to continually keep going back and be consistent and forget about the opinions that they have of you, and remember who God is and what he did for you. And then, because all God,
who you are though, like especially it's kind of like it's an identity thing. Once you know your identity in Christ, then you actually no longer care what people think about you, because you're only trying to please God. Like you're only trying to have a relationship with him. So you're like, that's like what changed my life probably the most out of everything, is like what other people say about me doesn't define me, and I can shut it down real quick, like in myself, and not have to like say that over myself and be like, nope.
When you accept that as your identity, then
you can receive it.
Then you're no longer accepting what God says about you as your identity. But when you choose to believe God's identity for you, you get rid of all the other people, the opinions of man.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
You think that's it?
I think that's it.
Can we end this visit now? Why'd you just shut that down so fast? You're just like, done. Okay.
You don't want to praise
all you, sir.
Oh, okay. God, we just thank you for always loving us, and always, when we have a negative opinion about you, always just being there, not to prove us wrong or not to get back at us, Lord, but to just show us who you are, and to have relationship with us so that we can create a healthier and better view of you, and get a better idea of who you are. And Lord, we ask that you just help those whose hearts are hurt from negative opinions of others, and to just show them the way you handle those situations, Lord, and the way that we should be handling those situations. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're interested in checking out more of our podcasts as they come available, please download our app in your device's app store, or check us out on your podcast platform at Garden Valley Church. We look forward to seeing you next time.